Once. Once there was a playground. Once there was a playground full of children. Once there was a playground full of children filled with joy and light, and we looked at ourselves and wondered how long it had been since we felt the same. Once we felt joy. Once we felt joy and it wasn't painful. Once the aches we felt were growing pains, the result of bold leaps off high beams and swing sets. We used to leap so much more than we do these days. Once we leapt face first into physical pain and need to avoid the emotional crap. Once pain was both immediate and abstract. An alliance of scraped knees and bleeding cuts and broken bones, and we knew without question our newly formed bodies would heal and we'd be okay. Once we were okay. More than okay. More than what we'd hoped for if we were mature enough to understand how rare being truly okay is as an adult. Once we weren't adults, but we wanted to be. Now we are adults. Aren't we? Once we were children. Children shifting the air around themselves, small gods made of glass and grit in a too large world. Once we used to be children. In those days we used to play at growing older, and these days we play at playing dead. Muffle our voices to avoid being too loud, but once we didn't need to hide our true sounds. Once we shouted like we meant it. Once we were childlike and everyone important knew exactly who we were. Once our youth kept us honest. Although once playtime was just a label for heavy lies and hopeful fantasy. Once fantasy was idolized, not feared. Once fantasy was revered. Was here. Once playtime became a way for us to settle into playing games. Once we played games. Too many. Once there were games. Too few. Games that helped us stop playing games with one another. Perhaps if we played more games these days, we'd know to play games less. Once we were messy. Once games were constructed from scaffold poles and imagination. Once playgrounds grew amongst cracked concrete and grassy fields. Once we played. Once there was a playground. Once there was a playground with children. Once there was a playground filled with children, and we watched them and we were them and we are them, and knew that one day we'd have something better. How could we not?